Welcome to the Healist Podcast, where we inspire and guide healers through business expansion. We give voice to incredibly abundant healers to share their stories. We dive into the quantum field to unlock the energies of conscious creation. We also develop digital tools to help you grow, which you can find on healist.com. I'm your host, Yuli, and I'm grateful you chose to join this space. Now let's go deep. Hello, my dear friends, and welcome to another exciting episode of the Healist Podcast. Today, we're talking about integrating sound frequencies into holistic healing modalities, and we have two incredible guests. Ian Morris and Brittany Churchill form a dynamic, synergetic partnership dedicated to empowering individuals through unique holistic practices. Ian, the visionary behind Listening to Smile, its method and frequency-minded music, collaborates seamlessly with Brittany, the creator of the Tap-In method and the driving force behind Listening to Smile's business operations. Their combined expertise enables them to assist people in calibrating their personal frequencies. Through the use of frequency-minded music by Listening to Smile, they guide individuals on a journey of self-discovery with profound blueprint meditations and intention-setting exercises. And together, they helm a global community providing Listening to Smile tools for transformation. And their collaborative efforts inspire and equip individuals and businesses to transform and amplify their impact on other lives. Their work is not just about personal business growth, but also about fostering a ripple effect of positive change in the world. I love this so much, and I'm so excited to talk to you guys. One of my favorite subjects, sound frequencies, and I like to set intentions for each episode. And for this one, I think I would like for people just to become more aware of frequencies, period, and sound frequencies that you work with. It's such a new frontier that I think a lot of people are not aware of and the powers of it. So I'm excited to talk to people that know so much about the subject and pioneer the space and just get some of your wisdom and share it with this collective consciousness that listening to this episode. So please welcome. And if you want to set your intention as well, please feel free to do so.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you so much for having us. We're super excited to be here. And I think just our intention that we would like to add with yours is just that sound, getting involved in sound is very easy to do. So just having the listeners approach this session with us with an open heart and an open mind to just be willing to explore some of the subjects and themes that are brought up in the podcast today, and just be willing to hear us out and to explore it personally and see what their thoughts are, through their own intuition and the interaction with it.
And I would just add, I hope that we can articulate enough that listeners would understand that this business, Listening to Smile, what we offer really is an amplifier. It's an amplifier to whatever modality they already have. Whatever, if you're a holistic practitioner, whatever you're doing, Listening to Smile can come in and really just become an amplifier to what you're already doing.
And I love amplifiers because that's what we do here. That's the entire premise of our podcast, and our business is to help healers grow. So I think introducing them to all those different channels and different avenues for them to amplify what they do through all kinds of senses and all kinds of different channels, I think that's incredible. And to kick off the conversation, and I would love to just get down to basics. What are we talking about when we're talking about sound frequencies? And can you give a little bit more of the basic terms or the physics of it, and how does it work?
Yeah, I think we need to just talk about frequencies. Just go down to that. What is frequency? And frequency is vibration. And so everything down to the cellular level is moving, and that vibration is measurable in frequency, and we measure it in hertz frequency. So what we love to do is help people understand that everything is moving. Everything has measurable hertz frequency. And when you can start cultivating your life in terms of frequency and thinking in terms of frequency, that your body is responding consciously or unconsciously to these vibrations, to these frequencies, whether it's light, sound, color, relationships, tones of voices, the stimulation from our electronics. If you're able to understand that all these things are communicating with you on a cellular level, and then you can start curating your life very intentionally, thinking in terms of frequency, then that is a real game changer, right? And so, and just basic level, frequency is vibration and is measured in hertz. So what we do is we create music, and we work with a lot of science-based methods, right? And I'll let Ian explain that. And one of the things we do with every single song is we create a sacred pure tone frequency in every single song. And so we're able to take very specific frequencies and embed them into this music. And so they're working on the cellular level with the listener. And so then I'll let you take it one notch up from there.
Well, before we do that, can we tell a dad joke about frequency?
Yes.
Okay. What happens when you hit someone with high frequency? Like if you were to just slap them with a high frequency.
What happens, Ian?
It hurts. Okay. Anyways. So yeah, I just think it's funny. So yeah, basically what we're doing is we have created what I call enhanced binaural beats. So enhanced binaural beats are a traditional binaural beat, and for people who don't understand what that is or have exposure to that, a binaural beat would be like if you're wearing headphones and you had 100 hertz in the left ear and 104 hertz in the right ear. So those frequencies are different. And what ends up happening is this wobble is created. And that wobble is what they actually name the beat, like BEAT, right? So it creates the sound that's very similar to, and it's the two frequencies playing off of each other being just a little bit off. And so what happens is the brain does not like that chaos, right? So it takes the left and the right hemisphere and synchronizes them. And so in that synchronization, what ends up happening is the brain hears one tone. And it's what's really fascinating about this is that the tone is actually the difference between the two. So it takes it and steps the brain down into a 4 hertz pattern. If it's 100 and 104, it makes the brain go into a 4 hertz pattern. And so 4 hertz to 8 hertz, some people will say 7, some people say 8, but 4 to 8 is basically the theta brainwave state. So if we were targeting someone that had restlessness, anxiety, different pain-related issues, or even addictions, I would target the theta brainwave state. Most hypnotherapists, psychologists, people that are working with audio, with patients, especially with addictions or trying to reprogram, it's a really great brainwave state to focus on. And so our music has these naturally embedded, but we take it a step further and we introduce another pure tone. So it's almost a tritone, not in a musical term, but just 3 frequencies that are introduced. And then the stereo imaging, the way they're balanced in the headphones, is a very full feeling. And the pure tone that's on top of the binaural beat is actually a carrier frequency. So it's laying the foundation of the brainwave state. It's laying the foundation of the introduction of the tones, but then there's a third tone that's on top. It's like the lead singer in the band. So whatever focus that we're going for, the lead singer is really going to be that icing on the cake that helps us achieve that focus or intention with the listener. So a lot of people who listen to our music will say it sounds very full. It sounds different than regular music, that kind of stuff. And I really believe it's the enhanced binaural beat element of the music. But the other thing that's really different is that we make deep meditation music, and we also do things that help with like sleep and, things with pain relief. But we also have music for static dance. We have music for just entertainment based. There's a lot of people who say they walk their dog or go on hikes in nature or clean their house to a lot of the upbeat music that we make. But the difference is that it's tuned completely different. All the instruments are tuned different to what we call sacred frequencies. And where our intention and focus for all of our music is basically release work and healing in all forms. So we say that we create a soundtrack for healing, from the yoga mat in the bed, when you're going to sleep, to out in nature, cleaning your house, working for focus and productivity. So we try to create music that can walk in all aspects of your day.
Yeah. A good example that I'll say, just to help to ground this concept that he's talking about with the tritone and the carrier frequencies. If you think of yourself wanting to get from point A to point B, and maybe if I'm talking to the holistic practitioners and they're working with a client, and maybe that client is dealing with depression and they want to feel relief, or maybe somebody's dealing with overwhelm and they want clarity, or somebody's dealing with restlessness and they want sleep. So point A to point B, they're trying to help somebody get there. The music really is like the ship, and it's like a vessel. And these carrier frequencies are what's going to help you move from point A to point B. But you hopping onto that ship, you bring that intention, you bring the focus, and we're talking about very specific frequencies that we're using. So we can align it with the heart chakra, the throat chakra, the root chakra, or body organs, or planetary frequencies. So that's all working along with that intention. You hop on that ship, that vessel, and it will help guide you from point A to point B. So it's working along with the practitioner, or the listener, whatever their intention they're using or coming to this music with, or this listening session, it helps them move from point A to point B. Does that make sense?
Yeah, frequency is the fuel.
And frequencies.
That is so amazing, and so much great information packed into the last couple of minutes. And I just want to clarify maybe some of the things for our listeners. So what I'm understanding, there's the basic layers, right, that you layer into, but there's also slight differences, and you can adjust those frequencies for different settings and for different purposes. But it sounds like there's also possibility to customize them to specific conditions, that if we're talking about a practitioner working with a client, they can kind of whatever tools they use in their toolbox to diagnose, for lack of a better word, what's going on with that person, and where some of the areas of their body, their mind that they need help with. And then they can work with specific frequencies to help get from that point A and B. Is that correct?
Yes. So we have some basically what I would call tools that the practitioners can utilize that are kind of like generalized. Like there's a chakra tune-up album that they have access to, volume 1 and volume 2. There's a releasing trauma series, volume 1 and 2. There's shamanic drumming that's, specifically meant for journey type sessions. And then we also have a pain relief album, right? But then we also offer what we call personal frequency coaching, where we actually get into the nuts and bolts with the clients or customers and go through, how much they're listening to music, what type of music are they listening to, getting to know the individual on a more intimate level so that we can provide the music and the genres that they're going to connect with. And then also like the beats per minute. Are they slower music or upbeat? Do they want more, upbeat music? And then creating things that are specifically targeting the focus or ailments that they're going through, firstly with body organ frequencies, because there's such, like if you're into German new medicine or any of the things like Louise Hay, You Can Heal Your Life, where she goes into very specific emotional states becoming physical ailments through these different spiritual connections. And so body organs is a really big one when we're privately creating custom tracks for clients. And then also planetary frequencies for people who are really into astrology and kind of into like human design or the gene keys or the Enneagram, things like that, people who want to go on a more energetic level. And then we also have the chakras, which are kind of our go-to working with a lot of people because they're just such a tried and true method. Once you have those balance and alignment and you have the maintenance and self-care, it really makes it easier to have a good foundation to tackle other issues that may be coming up.
That's incredible. I think it's just listening to you, I have so many different kind of use cases in mind for this types of music. So what do you see kind of in your community? How do practitioners use this music? So can you give us example of some of the ways?
It is actually pretty incredible how many different ways people are using this music. First and foremost, we create an album every single month that's in alignment with the Vedic astrology, and that's available to our members, our affiliate members. It is not available to the public, so it is closed behind the member wall. But because the membership includes a multi-purpose licensing for this music, which Ian can probably explain in a little bit, our practitioners are able to use these brand new albums every single month, and they can host their own sonic meditations. And so a lot of times these our members will be pulling in people from the community to experience the music. And what's really neat about these opportunities is that the practitioners actually have the ability to resell the music and earn commissions on the music. So it gives them this really cool, we have it all lined up in our certification and how our affiliates can actually create extra income. This is, again, one of the ways Listening to Smile can amplify a practitioner's business, is that we come in as just like another tool, but it's also another form of additional income for that practitioner. So a lot of
that, by the way, just wanted to acknowledge at this point, it's an amazing service because I think some of the services kind of provide one or the other. You guys actually do both, which is amazing.
It's really cool the way that we've created this entire community and system to be just really loving and supportive. And so we actually call them gratitude payments. And what's beautiful about it is that it's giving back to our community and supporting them. And we want our affiliates to feel supported in that way. So that's one way, right? So they're hosting monthly sonic meditations. So a lot of these affiliates, they come from different backgrounds. We have chiropractors, we have hypnotherapists, we have life coaches, nutritionists, we have, how many other, we have one that's a retired executive from Wall Street who created a course on money, on abundance and investing. And so we worked alongside that affiliate and created mindset setting meditations. And so he's using the music in that course. We have a doctor who's a gynecologist, and he's created a birthing course. And so he's worked with us in our music to help women who are about to give birth. We've also worked with the Humane Society. And so
hospice,
veterans. We're working with PTSD with veterans. We're working with highly anxious animals in the Humane Society and helping them learn to calm down in their environment, lowering their heart rate and their brainwave state. So they're actually more manageable and calm in their environment. This one was really cool because, working with these shelter animals and helping them adjust to that environment and to calm down. It was a real life example on how the music is working with brain entrainment. So these animals are coming in and when this music is turned on, they're learning that this is time to be quiet. This is time to relax. I'm going to rest. And so whenever those animals are adopted and they go into their new homes, then this piece of music is to go along with them to that home. And so now they have something that's familiar, right? Going with them into a new home, this adoptive home. And that brain entrainment gets to continue with them, right? So this new owner gets to use that music and the animals transition much smoother and much more happily. And so I guess these are a bunch of random examples from our past and our history of working with affiliates and just to show you the variety of ways people are actually utilizing this music. So it's not just in one-on-one sessions or sonic meditations. It's just wild to see all the different variety of people that have utilized this music in different ways. I don't know if you have a couple more stories to share with that.
Well, I was just going to say, I feel like I grew up as a bohemian artsy person, right? So I'm a visual painter, I'm a poet, I'm a musician, I play like 25 different instruments and just have played everything from punk rock bands, cover bands, all the way to like classical and folk bands, right? I just love anything creative. And the thing that I noticed was healers and creative people we're drawing from the same source, right? Whenever you go into create a new piece of art, it's the same thing the Reiki healer's, tapping into when she's working or he's working with their client, right? So that energy, that source energy is coming through as healing, whether it's a visual painting or music, or whether it's the energy, from Reiki or from intentionality and working and communicating with people to help them see their potential, right? But what I noticed was all of us need butts and seats. And what I mean by that is just supporters of the work that we're doing so that we can focus full time and continue delivering the best, highest quality work that we can. And so in that, what I noticed was that most music or practitioners, healers, there was no really business model applied to anything they were doing. It was just kind of like, I'll throw a sound bath when it feels good. And they're like, I want to do this full time, but I don't really know how. And so for me, I started off with the gongs and didgeridoos and tuning forks and the whole thing. And it's a big investment. A lot of people don't realize for musicians, like, a guitar player just with his guitar and amplifier could have $5,000-6,000 tied up in that rig, that he's using. And when you look at the whole band, it could be, 20, 30, 40 grand. And then people are like, oh, it's $7 to come see you play, It's like they don't realize how long it took people to get the talent up to that par of performance. They don't look at the amount of money and time and energy that goes into that. And so there's no value system there with the public and the performers, and vice versa with the healers. A lot of people don't realize the amount of money that some of the healers have put into their education and certifications that go into this whole thing. So I started asking myself, how could I deliver something that was intentional, but also what I call subtly epic? And what I mean by that is like, going to a coffee shop and seeing a guitar player, you could be moved. You could say he's got a great voice, she's got a great voice, cool songs, but it's not going to be enough. I don't care who it is. If it was John Lennon before he was famous singing in the coffee shop, no one's going to value that because their life has so much hustle and bustle. They're going to forget about that soon enough. But if someone goes to Bonnaroo, or someone goes to Burning Man, or someone goes to some big festival where they meet all these people and it's a week long and there's tons and tons of music and they're just bombarded with all these new things and curiosities to explore. When they get back, they talk about it for weeks and weeks because it was such a big journey. And so I wanted to create something that was like that experience, but was something that could be experienced in peace and in meditation. But it would be something that would stick with you for a long while after you experienced it. So I started exploring more about aromatherapy, light therapy, color therapy, and including that with intentionality of these meetings that we call sonic meditations in person. So we had surround sound speakers with subwoofers that could hit frequencies well below that of a gong or a didgeridoo, and it could be felt in the body in a way that would really change the cellular makeup. And what I mean by that is this past week, we just did, Dr. Rodney came and tested blood before our sound baths and then after the sound bath. And we found that, the visual confirmation of what we already knew energetically for years, which is it's pulling toxins, heavy metals, and parasites out of the cells and tissue and putting it into the bloodstream. And so it's why people say when you do a sound bath, drink lots of water, flush out the toxins. And then the immune system now is able to fight those in a way that it didn't have the opportunity when they were hiding, right? So it's just neat to see that in real time. And that's really what the premise of our music is to, one, create a system that is consistent. And, going to the gym one-time workout is not going to give you the beach body. Doing a sound meditation once a month is not going to give you the breakthroughs that you're truly looking for. So we wanted to create something that was consistent, something that was subtly epic, meaning that it wouldn't blast your head off when you first did it, but it would be enough that it was enticing you to go deeper and that you would sustain that feeling of change and purging for a long period of time in a peaceful way, and that you could definitely tell the difference in your body from that work.
Wow, that's an incredible story. And first of all, I love the scientific approach that you're taking to it and that you're actually measuring some of those effects, because I think this is something that is absolutely missing in this community. And I know some of the leading teachers are, definitely working alongside scientists and getting that direction. So it's amazing to see you guys following that. And also, I think when it comes to sound and sound healing, I think to me, just kind of being in the space for a little bit, it's something that's kind of taken for granted a little bit. That's how I feel. It's just something that is considered to be a nice to have, just another layer to create like a nice atmosphere maybe, but it's not necessarily spoken for its healing abilities on its own. That's why I find your work is really fascinating, because one, you dissect it into specific frequencies that make it more, kind of analytical or more science-based already. And then two, you also doing all those experiments of usage and then you're measuring the effects of it. I just find it to be extremely beneficial to not just what you do. Obviously, it's great for your business purposes, but just in general for the healing community, and especially the sound healing community, just to have more of that education out there that it's actually a healing tool on its own.
Yeah.
I think another thing to think about is going back to the beginning of the show, we're talking about everything is frequency. And if you start thinking in terms of that, to Ian's point about having something that's consistent in your life, not just going to a sound healing bath once a month, but having something on a daily basis. What's really, really fantastic about our wellness series that's available to the public is that people can take this music and utilize it in their homes on a daily basis. And what you're doing is you're curating a space. You're actually on the frequency level choosing to create peace or uplifting feeling in your home. And so it's a tool, not just for holistic practitioners, but just the end user, even just using it in your home. So even thinking in terms, again, of the holistic practitioner working with a client, if they wanted to help that client continue to find clarity or to find peace or to work through whatever they're doing back at home outside of their session, this is an incredible way to give that client tools, right? To take home, to continue to work, curating their life. And in terms of sound, and it's interesting to think about how we relate to ourselves and the world around us, thinking in terms of the electromagnetism. Like in the spectrum, we're only like able to register the light frequencies, right? But there's so much more in that spectrum, right? And so we're on a very unconscious, I would say unconscious, maybe subconscious level. We're relating to the light, the sounds, the feelings, the feeling of a room around us, and it gives us spatial awareness. It gives us awareness of ourselves and how we can place ourselves inside this room or inside this world. I'll give you an example. There was a study done where people were put in a room where they could actually control the electromagnetic level. Like they would switch to magnetism and lower it or increase it. And when it was taken away, there was such a void that the subjects started to cry, not because they were sad, but because they literally couldn't associate themselves with where they were at in that space. And I think this is significant to share because what is realized is that on a very subtle energetic level, we are responding to the frequencies around us, to the electromagnetic field around us to help us associate ourselves with this space. Now, if you're thinking about frequency music, we can actually utilize this sound, right, to help us amplify intentions, okay, what kind of energetic field do I want to create in my home and in my life? Do I want something that feels uplifting? Do I need to feel something that's going to bring out that breakthrough or clarity? Do I need to feel stronger because I know I've got a really intense meeting later today and I want to feel like I am empowered or centered or grounded, right? And so this music is an incredible tool to help you on that personal level curate your life.
To me, it's something like sounds almost like a daily supplement, right? People are so obsessed with supplements these days to like balance their moods, their physical bodies. I mean, this is something that seems to me so easy and natural and definitely non-invasive. That's something that just to add to your daily routine that is, again, just super easy. So thank you for bringing that just awareness to people. I think it's a very important part to share, that it's something that should be practiced on a daily basis, and just to have that awareness of the vibrations and frequencies around us. Thank you. And now we can move into the legal subjects, which I know you guys are doing so much amazing work in so many different areas that we want to highlight it all for sure. Because I think another piece, like you mentioned, that you're doing that's very important is allowing healers not only to access your incredible tools and work with your frequency-based music in a very easy way, but you're allowing to do it legally and in a way that supports the entire community, it supports their business, it doesn't infringe on any laws, and it supports you as artists and providers as well. And it's amazing that you created a system that makes it so easy to tap into and have this access, and not just kind of access the library, but have open a new stream of amplification and abundance for healers as well. So I would love for you to talk about it. And I think it's also area that, not many people are talking about when it comes to healing. The whole use of sound and the way it is right now is not very regulated. There's not much education about what's legal use, what's not legal use. So I would love for you to shed the light without hopefully going too much into legal terms so our listeners don't go to sleep or tune out. But again, it's a very important topic to discuss. So please, Ian, would love to have your perspective on that.
Yeah, I'll try to make this short in layman terms as possible. So I was doing a continuing education class for doctors and nurses at University of Pittsburgh Medical Center that was also in conjunction with Carnegie Mellon. And when I was there, one of the people who approached me after the talk was this yoga teacher that had 6 yoga studios in Pittsburgh. And she had 55 yoga teachers that were, under her umbrella. And she was getting sued for $150,000 from BMI. And she was saying that she just wanted my help because I was talking about...
I'm sorry, can you just tell our listeners what BMI is and why she was being sued?
Yeah, so BMI, ASCAP, there's about 4 of them, I think. I don't know all of them, but ASCAP and BMI are the 2 biggest ones. And what they're called are PROs, and it's performing rights organizations. So they basically are the gatekeepers for the musicians and the record labels to protect them against copyright infringement, right? So you pay them, you register your songs with them, and you pay them, and then they track if people are using them illegally, and then they can sue the people and go through that whole thing.
So when someone is using their music in a yoga studio setting, is that basically what you're saying? It is a non-illegal use?
Yeah. So what makes it legal is when you buy a license from either those organizations or Spotify, or you pay for licensing in a commercial space. So let's go into this real quick. If Brittany buys a subscription to Spotify for $10 or whatever it is now, she can listen to those songs in her house and she can listen to those songs in her car. But when she goes into a business that people are paying for services inside of that business and you're using that music, that's where you're crossing the line. So when you're so if I'm a yoga teacher and I'm taking payments from people and I'm providing playlists in those classes, that would be a tool that's being utilized in this commercial offering that has not been asked permission, number one. And number two, there's no compensation from those tickets that you're selling going to the either party whether it's the record label or the artist, or they're not getting their cut. And why that's significant is because yoga teachers have this mentality. All of us as healers have this mentality. I have a lot of expenses to do what I want to do. But what it comes down to is integrity. And the reason I say that is because when I spin this question around to the person who makes these statements to me all the time, like I hear this so much, it's crazy. But what I say is, okay, with your yoga class, imagine that I recorded your yoga class and then put it up on my YouTube channel, and the YouTube channel blew up and went viral, and I got, money from that. And you came to me and said, hey, what's the deal? You didn't ask permission to use this. And then I say, well, your yoga class is just background. They're coming for my music. That's why they're coming to my YouTube channel, is for my music. And she was like, oh, I wouldn't like that. And I said, well, that's how we feel when you use our music without asking. And also, you're not giving us any compensation, but you're utilizing this tool in your class. And so it would even come up where they would say, well, the music's just background. I don't have to have it. And I would say, good, don't use it. Don't use it then, right? And I said, but you and I both know that it is a tool, because in movies, there would be no emotions in some of these movies without those epic soundtracks. There would be no pumping up the crowd at the sporting events without the music that was involved in this. And even there's licensing, like if someone goes to a bar to watch a Super Bowl game, the bar has to pay a licensing to the NFL to be able to stream that football game, because they're making money from people coming to watch that game together, right? So this is when you start looking at that perspective and you start saying, I want to be in intention with my personal alignment, but I also want my business to be in alignment with intention and with, integrity, to be in the same energy that I'm wanting to receive, right? So we do the best we absolutely can in making sure the people that we're working with are compensated and feel honored, because that's what we want. We want to feel honored and be compensated for our time, energy, and experience. And I think most people do. And so whenever you set up, an agreement with Listening to Smile, what happens is you're afforded to use the music in a copyright protected way, meaning like the videos you put up can't be taken down. People can't sue you for using the music because you have a independent private contract with us as the creator, and we own all of the music outright. We don't have a third party. There's no record label. There's no middleman between us. It's between us and the people that we're working with. So this sets up a really interesting scenario that really bypasses the music industry as we know it right now. And it creates a lot of luxuries for the people utilizing the music. That means they have what we have created as a multi-use license, meaning that, like you were saying, typically if I put a song on a commercial, and then I wanted to use it on my podcast, I would have to pay 2 different licensing, sync licensings for that material. But with our license, you pay a 1 flat fee for the year, and you're able to use it on Reels and YouTube and podcasts and commercials, and you can utilize it to create white label products for yourself. You're also able to host online events and in-person events, and we help the affiliates learn how to brand their business with this music that's called FMM, frequency-minded music, and then how to create multiple revenue streams. And I think this is important to say, most people that I know who are entrepreneurs, they fight day in and day out to find new expansions for their products. And for us, we have to fight to stay centered, because there's literally so many opportunities coming to us that we have to really be focused on not becoming spread thin. And I think that we love working with practitioners, because once they see the potentials of all the different opportunities that can come from utilizing music in this way and creating this very special license, it really opens up a lot of different avenues to explore. And so it's a very, very different thing than just hosting a sonic meditation.
Thank you for bringing that to our attention, and thanks for allowing healers an easy way to have access to this incredible music library. So can you just confirm in terms of the actual logistics of it? What are they? So they have to join, they have to become members of your community, and And what kind of benefits do they get from that?
So basically, they sign up. They have a flat fee. It's $777 for the year. They can break that up into 4 payments. We're going to offer a special deal through you guys where they can get $77 off. So that, you'll put that in the show notes for them.
Yes, we'll get that information in the show notes as well. And thank you for your generous offer.
Yeah. So they'll have a way that they can split that up into 4 payments if need be. And then what they get is every month we do a call where we go over the astrology energy for the upcoming month. We go over the music that's coming and the frequencies that are used. We allow people to ask questions and go through that whole session. And then at the end, we do a little breakaway group where people get to network and they get to talk. And the group, we're in 10 different countries with our practitioners now. So it's really neat, the international aspects of it. And you get to meet some really interesting people, and it creates a lot of great networking opportunities. And we do that once a month. They have support for the whole year if they need help making playlists or help with their PA or help with creating new ideas for events that can bring new clients in to their practice. They also can ask frequency-based questions. Is 432 better than 528 and all that kind of stuff. If they have a client that has specific issues that they're having trouble finding the right frequency, they have that support for the whole year. They go through an orientation, and they have the option to do an upsell of getting certified and doing in-person work with Brittany and I. And we've already hosted 2 of those this year that went really well. And they also get the monthly album. So they get 2 free albums when they sign up, and then they get an album every single month. And the albums come with astrology videos about the astrology energy for the month. And then it comes with all the frequency information and all the intentions of the music so that they can have a transparency and share that with their community. And so they're able to sell albums and sell the program, sell handbooks. There's a lot of different things that they can offer to their community where they can generate money from those exchanges.
Yeah. So what's really neat is it's an annual membership, and really the price is really affordable in terms of thinking in licensing and using this as a multi-use license.
To give you an idea, like a Spotify license can run anywhere from about $400 to $600 for the year. And that's money that you put out, and there's no way to generate money from that except getting more clients. With our program, it costs $777, and you can create your own products. You can sell the music to your clients, which you can't do with Spotify. And then you have a lot of different training to host events and ticket prices that you can get to get that return on your investment, where a lot of the other licensing is just kind of putting it out with no return.
Right. So just thinking in terms of the one flat fee, the annual fee, you're really paying for this incredible multi-use licensing, right? And then you're able to generate income. And then on top of that, we have this awesome album that you get every single month that's in alignment with the Vedic astrology. And we have a community that you can meet with once a month. And I feel like it's a lot that's delivered for this annual fee.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I mean, I agree. It's a lot of value. And if someone wanted to first kind of get educated more about working with frequencies, is that part of the training as well?
So the orientation that they go through, and then the next step would be going to the certification. The certification is more hands-on, where they actually experience 5 different meditations with the music. So like wireless headphones versus surround sound speakers. We do one where we hike in nature and they get to see like wearing wireless headphones in nature. We also use a company called Aries Tech that has a lot of EMF and EMR protectors. So if we ever do wireless signals, we always have those with it to offset it. But we show them everything, the ins and outs of not only hosting and then utilizing the frequencies, but then learning the next step, which is the business implementation of like actually building a community around this and building a brand around music, which is a very different approach. And so they get all of that training in those 2 segments. One segment is like the basic bare bones, which would be the affiliateship, and then the certification puts them in the level 2, which is a little deeper into the frequency and how it all works.
That's incredible and amazing service. And I feel like after this conversation, I would love to learn more about frequencies. So you might have me as a student. It's actually an interesting story because I put it out there in the universe that I want to learn more about sound frequencies. And then you guys came to my life. So it's working. Yes, I just think it's a fascinating, again, subject that, another great tool for all of us to use as we pursue our own healing and health. And it's amazing to get it in the hands of healers. But like you said, it's also an incredible tool for individuals to have and facilitate their own healing.
I think it's real. If we can just spend 1 second on this, you said you put that announcement out and then it came into you. Mm-hmm. And that's what she did as well. It's so funny. She said she spoke out loud, I want to make music with Ian Morris. And it's still to this day. 2
years ago.
It's still to this day like cracks me up because I basically said that I wanted a family. I was like telling the universe, I want to have a family and I want to change my life and do the things that puts me in alignment with that. And she, at the same time, was saying, I want to make music. She had saw me on Paul Chek's podcast. And so there was this connection made through that. But it's just when we start speaking the things that we want, it's changing our vibration and it's attracting the vibration of the other things that are in alignment with those words that we spoke, right? Or that we spelled, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's amazing. So all three of us got, put together by frequencies, basically.
Yeah. Yes, definitely. It's so cool.
I love it. Well, guys, it was such a pleasure to have you and have all this wealth of knowledge shared that I feel like we should be talking more and more. And there's just so much depth to it. Any last words of wisdom for our listeners, for our amazing practitioners? I mean, I think you inspire them so much, not with just kind of this idea of integrating sound frequencies into their healing, but also the business side of things is just so illuminating. Any last words of wisdom that you would like to share?
I was just going to say that this is such an easy, implementable, if that's the word, tool. Because, with investing in other sound modalities, those singing bowls they can get thousands and thousands of dollars to get different sounds and different frequencies. With listening to Smile, you get so much value with just this one annual cost. And then you can implement it so easily. If you're working online and you're doing online courses or online meetings with your clients, or if you're doing in person, it's so versatile and how you can take it with you everywhere you go. You're not having to pack your car with a bunch of different tools to go do your session. You're literally taking an MP3 player or your phone, and if you have speakers or however you're going to do it, but it's so easily implementable. And I just think I want to get that point across, like how just you can invest in it and just quickly just get started.
Yeah, I would say most people are up and running within a week, 2 weeks once they sign up. There was a person who signed up and within 4 days was hosting an event with the music because they were already doing guided meditations and using music, but they weren't using frequency music. So it was just like seamlessly worked with what they were doing and they just got up and running. So I think that is a good point, is that it's really easy to implement.
This just came to mind too. And I don't know if this is worth sharing. I'm not sure if there are people in your community that are already doing small events in homes to deliver whatever they're delivering or sell whatever they're selling. An example would be somebody who's working with essential oils. What they do is they host classes or they host in homes workshops, right? Talking about the oils, but they do those for free. They're not charging a lot of times to, share their knowledge about the essential oils. What's really neat about these sonic meditations is you can create this subtly epic experience and people want to pay money to go to it. But then you could also bring in your modality or your products, such as like essential oils, and continue to teach about it, do the workshop. So suddenly the thing you're already doing, people are now paying to come to, right? To have that experience. And then you can upsell, the music and your product. And so I think it's a really, really cool, amazing system that we've put in place for holistic practitioners to amplify what they're already doing and increase their revenue.
Amazing. I love that message. Thanks, guys, again for existing, for bringing your wisdom to the world, and for making it with so much ease. We all need more ease in the world these days. So thanks for creating that frequency. And it was a pleasure having you here.
Thank you so much.